Welcome to the While My Batteries Charge podcast. Join us as we talk about all things radio controlled. And now, your host.
Folks, this man, he is the king.
Mr. Cece RC himself. Tony Cece.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the While My Batteries Charge podcast. There's quite a few new things, new old things, new things, newish things to talk about. They're kind of like updates, refreshes, things like that, but still kind of fun to see. But yeah, lots going on, from price increases to the new news and all of that to talk about. So, man, where do we want to jump in? Do we want to jump in with pricing? Because of the tariffs and different increases in costs of manufacturing, we've been told that there's going to be increases in pricing from some of the manufacturers or the companies here. So we're definitely seeing that and going to be feeling that hitting our pocketbooks with the hobby a little bit. Doesn't seem to be super drastic, but it just feels like over time it's just one more thing, then one more thing, then one more little update in price, little update in price, little update in price. And so what was the 3S lineup of Arrma going for $299 back in the day, now we're looking at like $349, $379, upwards of there. So it's increasing, and this happened back when we had the big pandemic that hit, and there was just a shortfall on things because of lack of workforces and all of that, and so there was definitely an increase in cost of things then as well. We never really saw that kind of dip back down when it did come back. It kind of just stayed there. And I'm kind of wondering if that's going to be the same thing that happens here. I hope not. I hope that when they can, hopefully we'll get rid of some of that tariff stuff. And then if not, we'll keep the pricing, of course. But if they do, I sure hope that they will drop the pricing back to where it was, if the pricing goes down for them. So, one of the things is we see some manufacturing that'll be happening here. It's going to be more competitive in pricing. So, that's good, but it is tough on our pocketbooks when the costs over all of them have gone up a little bit. So, we're looking at, instead of $249 now for, LMT Mini, we're looking at like $279. Like I said, with the Arrma Big Rocks, I think those were $349. Now they're $379. Certain ones were a little bit more than others, and so we're definitely seeing the pricing be different. But yeah, I'm seeing now the new Arrma Granite 223S, they're calling it, and that's now starting at $349. So pretty close. It just everything kind of keeps jumping a little bit. The Arrma Creighton EXB 6S is coming out at $799. So I think those were just above $7 when they were first coming out, $749 maybe, with the EXB versions. So each thing's seeing a little bit of a bump. They just announced the Capra. The new Capra is $559.99 to start. For the 4-wheel steer, I think those were $500. So yeah, it's something we're going to see. And we're going to just have to deal with and save up a little more. But, if you're in it and you're loving it and you're loving what you're doing, the quality they've been upping the quality on certain things too, which I do like seeing, or what they're offering as what is ready to run now. So, there's pluses, minuses all across. I do want to get me that little Megalodon though, LMT Mini that came out. So I'm kind of now cross threading the topic from the price increase to the newish. It's just a refresh, but it's got a new body on it, and the LMT Mini Megalodon. I don't love the animal bodies and the crazy weird bodies of monster trucks. I just don't. I don't like that they look like a digger for Digatron or different things like that. And a dump truck, that one's a little okay. Earth Shaker's kind of okay, but for the most part, it's not my favorite thing. I love more the truck bodies or even some of the car bodies that they've done in the past. And then even, older, newer trucks, just kind of varying up that way. But I get it. They're not only appealing to an adult market, they're definitely appealing to a kid market and being able to sell toys and other things, which helps them to keep the whole big thing operation running at full steam and doing the crazy tricks that they're doing. So I don't fault them for doing it. I'm just saying that they're not my favorite. However, of them, the ones that I do like the zombie, and I like the Megalodon all right. I think it's crazy looking when it's flying through the air. So, if there was gonna be one, I don't hate it, but it is kind of weird. But you put it in that truck in the right driver's hands, and it is awesome watching it flap the fins around and break off, and it's pretty cool. Same with Bari when the arms are flapping and all that on the zombie. Pretty cool. But I think it's pretty cool for a couple reasons. One of the main reasons being it has a black chassis, so you can convert it to other trucks very easily, because it isn't like a green or a blue chassis. It's kind of like a blackish gray. I can't tell exactly. It does look kind of black. Certain photos make it look like it's a dark gray, but I'm pretty sure it's a black chassis strapped up underneath it. I haven't actually seen one in person yet. So, but overall, I like that it's going to give us some of that. You definitely see the cage is black. Yeah, it's black. Okay, so I'm seeing it now. So, black rails, blacked out. Looks awesome. I even like the wheels. So, pretty slick looking when you take the body off it, put a truck body on it, and go to town if you want. But it's just another one. I'm glad that they're giving us options, and the actual platform is stupid fun. So a little bit of a refresh. The links look quite a bit beefier to me, because that was one thing that was bending were those lower links, and so those do seem to be updated. Something that I haven't actually had time to really look at all the specs and details on it after it came out. But it does look like they've beefed those up. So I'm trying to see it here quickly. I'm just pulling up the web page to see if it's something that they point out. Like beefy. I know that the drivetrain, yeah. So 6mm tapered aluminum links. So those do seem, it's a new design that's more durable. So that's awesome to see that they did do that, because that was the one thing that was bending for people that I saw. Mine aren't bent, but if you landed on it doing backflips and different things and they actually landed on your jump, they would bend. So they listen, they're watching, and it's cool to see when they re-release stuff, even in a newish update like this, that they take it to another level. So, and that may have to do with some of the price increasing too, because those links are definitely beefier, quite a bit beefier. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get my hands on one of these here. So that's one of the new things that came out. I mentioned the Capra already. That got a little bit of an update as well, and the axles were improved, and a couple of different components on it. I like the beadlock wheels on that as well. I think they look really sharp. The color choices that they went with these are pretty slick. So both of them are branded now. You've got the Mickey Thompson one, and then you've got the orange one. The orange one is the wheels that I really like, because they do have like an orange inner piece to them, and they look pretty sweet with the black beadlock around it. So yeah, just overall pretty rad looking little update to it, and interesting to see how they go, because overall it was a really well handling truck. I kind of thought they were getting rid of it because they just speaking of new, they just announced the Heelamon, which is spelled Gillamon, but the G sounds like an H. Welcome to the English language. So yeah, Heelamon. I don't know if that's using another language to get that or what, but so it's a larger 8-scale rock buggy kind of thing, trail buggy like a Capra. So I thought for some reason, they're because they were doing sales and all that on the other Capras and the 4-steer ones, and then this came out. So I kind of thought maybe the other one was kind of going away, but it didn't. Now they have 2 options. You can get the 10th scale. Well, they've got 3 actually, because they updated the mini Capra as well. And then they've got the 10 scale one, and then they've got this 8 scale Heelamon. So yeah, got a 1/16 they call it, which is much bigger than that. I'm just kind of pulling up here again. But yeah, they've got several different offerings now. And see, sorry, I said it wrong. It's not 16th scale. It's 18th scale, but it feels more like a 14th or 16th scale. But they had refreshed that one, and they went 4-wheel steer with it. So yeah, you've got 18th scale offerings, 10th scale, and the 8th scale in these kind of rock buggy, trail buggy kind of rides from Axial. So yeah, definitely tons of options there if that's kind of your thing. We've been seeing refreshes in the Arrma lineups, and that's been good to see. A lot of people start wondering, is it going away? They're all saying, discontinued or out of stock, and it's not showing anything for that SKU anymore. And it's just that they've done some updates to them. So, yeah, we've saw the new Pro Moto, the Super Moto version of it is kind of a newish thing. That doesn't really tempt me as much. And even the crawlers don't. The EXP Creighton's kind of a pretty cool and tempting one if I were looking for something like that. I have a EXB Italian, which I still love, and so I could change some tires on it, make it kind of be like the Creighton. So it's not something I need in my fleet, but I also have this the 6S Creighton that's not the EXP version. So I've got a couple offerings in that kind of vein with the Outcasts and different things. But it's great to see that they're updating for people that don't have them or people that want to, they've maybe destroyed theirs and want to get a new one or whatever. It's always nice that if they're just going to keep releasing them, why not do some of the updates to them and not just keep putting out the same one if they can do small little changes along the way and just correct some things. With most part numbers and all that, hopefully staying the same for replacements for the ones that people already have. So it is good to see that happening. There's some sales kicking too over on Horizon Hobby. They've got like spring break sales or some kind of spring sales. One of the most notable ones I saw was the IXSR6. Sorry. Man, you start getting too many letters and numbers in there for me, and I'm just be like, the, Spectrum something Pro or something. I don't know. It's their high end one with the touch screen interface, all of that. It's their for Surface. It is like the high end of the Spectrums, and it's $180 off. So it's $549.99 instead of $729. So we're seeing price increases on some stuff because of cost and manufacturing. And then this one's running a crazy sale on it. And it's very full featured and very tempting for somebody who has a lot of Spectrum receivers. This to me is super, super tempting. The biggest reason I haven't gone to this route is that it really limits filming with it because it's not able to really be driven one-handed easily. And, there's not really, there's clamps and stuff I can do to clamp onto it, I guess. But that's just been kind of problematic with breaking battery tray doors. And if I'm spending that much on a radio, you don't want to really be breaking stuff. And anyway, it's a little bit problematic from that standpoint for me, but man, is it tempting. It's so tempting. The Losi Razor Ray is the Polaris is on sale as well, and that's something that I think is pretty awesome. So that's in their spring sales right now. The Losi color pattern, the red and orange, or the orange and black version, is on sale for $70 off for $429. The blue one, that's the Razor branding, is not on sale, but the black and orange one is. So you're seeing some sales like that as well. Lots of plane sales, lots of battery sales that they're hitting up, and then also it looks like there's the green SAX24 Jeep is on sale for $25 ish off. So $119 to get that instead of the $145 for the SCX24. So there's some cool deals to maybe check out if you're looking for deals on things. But something cool I saw, speaking of the mini LMT, was that Monster Jam just posted. They made a reel using some of the footage that we'd shot with the Andersons for the mini LMT release. So that's kind of cool to see over on Monster Jam right now on their Facebook and stuff, that they're kind of pushing that, and they're using some of the stuff that we shot. So that's really cool to see. But yeah, for me, I've got some things to do. I'm in the middle right now of editing, and hopefully I'll be able to finish it tonight. Just because I'm so busy with other stuff right now with work, I'm only getting a few, little bits of time here and there. And for me, editing is tough. If I can't just sit down and edit through something in a day or two, when I'm just doing it in chunks, you almost have to start over and like, where am I? What haven't I used? What, you almost have, and then that takes 15 minutes, but you've only got 45. So then anyway, so it's been a slow edit, but I'm working on the video for the Team Corrali Punisher 4S. And I really enjoyed driving that thing. And I've just recently watched Tom Lee's video on it, and he had some complaints about the motor mounting and all of that. And so for people that are looking to gear it up and do things like that, I actually don't think it's a negative as much as some people do. But it's the slotted, there's pros and cons. So with a basher, if you have slotted motor mounts, they can slip, and then you can chew up teeth, do whatever, or it gets too tight of a mesh, whatever. And so they've opted to do where they're numbered. And so based on what tooth pinion you put on, you use those holes that are listed. That's how the LMT has gone. Several others have gone that way. And I don't hate that. He sees it as a negative. For what this is, it's an entry-level kind of basher. I think it helps some people out. And now he was saying his mesh was tight and he couldn't adjust it because of it. So I don't know the tolerances maybe on an aftermarket pinion. I don't think he was using a Team Corrali one. I don't know. I don't know all the specifics, but that was definitely a gripe that he had. The other one being it didn't have enough wheel speed out of the box. And so that's why he was changing the pinion and stuff like that to see what speeds he could get. I wasn't able to really test that because I was running on snow and ice. So it felt quick because it was really hard to control. Probably because it was a lower gearing, it had lots of initial acceleration, which made it a little bit tricky getting it going without slipping. Not too bad, but I could definitely feel the power immediately when I would go for it. I'm like, ooh, this thing's got some power. But I could never really test out a top end on it. The main thing I did realize was in the air on a couple hits, if it really donkey kicked, and the back end ended up getting raised up high, there wasn't enough wheel speed to pull it back around and level it out. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. I think one is the tires. I think the tires are a really heavy or thick compound, and they don't really expand. They almost feel belted, is what it felt like in the air. Again, I had snow caked in everywhere, so I can't get an exact feel. But I almost wonder if that's some of the problem there with not being able to get it around for backflips and some of that like he was hoping to. Because I feel like it feels like it should have enough speed to do some of that stuff if everything is right, approaches, jumps, whatever, like the angles on everything. So, but I do feel like the tires, it's like the difference between an Arrma 3S lineup. Let's just use that as an example. Like the Vortex to the Big Rock to the Granite. The Granite being bigger tires that expand a lot, and you could go backflip crazy with that. Big Rock, it can backflip. It doesn't quite get around quite like the Granite does, where you might pull double backflips with the Granite. You could maybe only get a single with the Big Rock. To the Vortex, where you could struggle to get a backflip with that thing because of the tires. So I wondered that about it. So it really feels like just a straight jumper basher, take it out, thrash it, have some fun. You can always change wheels and tires, but it makes things more expensive when you do that. So it is always nice when you get something that has stuff that you like already on it. And I know that I'm more of that person than a lot of other people. Some other people don't mind just changing out everything on their truck. They may only have one or two, and so they just love to just go take their one or two trucks to the nines, right? Whereas I've got a bunch, I'm like, man, I don't want to just keep buying new tires and things for all these trucks, because then I just have so many just sitting there on shelves that aren't used, tires and stuff. And yeah, and it gets really expensive. So I like when certain trucks that are ready to run bashers like this kind of come with what I want. And that's where in that 3S lineup, I really like the Big Rock. Really, really like the Big Rock. I used to love the Granite, but then the tires on the new one started I just keep blowing them up. Like they're too soft and they expand too much. And so, the Big Rock is my favorite in that lineup right now. But yeah. So back to the Team Corrali, I felt like I need to get it on some other terrain, one, to see how it handles in high traction, see how it handles in dirt, and just the differences. But out of the box, I did notice a few things that needed adjusting, like on the droop and different things, because the shocks were going to overextend, which will cause some issues in the driveline, but also with the shocks potentially breaking or pulling out and sticking and then landing and bending. If you overextend shocks, there's a lot that can go wrong. So adjusted the droop on it, but then we also, a problem they've been having with these is the CVDs, the clip that they have to retain the pin that goes through the CVD. Those are notorious for coming off. So I went ahead and took it right apart and shrink wrapped that clip on so that hopefully that extra safety will keep that very simple problem from happening. It's not breaking, it's just coming apart and losing stuff and then coming apart because you lose the pin. So big time bummer, but I just went ahead and addressed it right away, shrink wrapped it, and just taking that one extra precaution in hopes that won't happen. We won't have that issue. Because I don't feel like shearing is the problem, shearing and breaking with those, as much as just losing the clip and the pin. So, but overall, I felt like it did pretty good. I like the handling of it. I love the looks of it. The body, I think, is awesome looking. So we'll see. Kind of in that 4S, it's definitely different than, I do have a 4S Outcast, and that thing's much more of a, well, again, see, I don't have it. I don't have it with dry ground, but the 4S Outcast is a wheelie machine, craziness and like that, where this didn't seem quite to have that. But again, I'm going at it without the proper driving stuff for it. But overall, fun to run. The one thing I don't like about the Outcast is how easily it wheels up and is only a stunt truck. It's not really a driver. Like, it's tough to control. It's not one that I just hand to somebody new and be like, hey, have fun. Like, man, you're going to struggle with this. You're going to constantly crash. You're going to flip. Yeah. It's tough to control in the air unless you really know how to drive an RC. where I don't feel like that's the case with this. But again, time will tell. I'm not doing reviews. I'm just explaining my driving experiences with things, and kind of how they do kind of compare to each other, but I'm not doing any review kind of thing on it. I'm just sharing experiences. But they did send it out, and that's why I don't like the review, because it's definitely skewed in a way. You know, you can't avoid it because I don't have skin in the game on it. But again, it felt fun to drive. So watching it was the best part. I mean, I absolutely love the way it looks. I mean, they all get a ding from me anyway, because I don't like when they have a wing, because when you crash them, they get stuck upside down a lot more than cars that don't have a wing. So there's that anyway. If I'm being honest about any car, that's not a favorite thing of mine. That's not like a selling feature. It looks cool. It's got that truggy look, but, you know, I prefer them to not have a wing. So that's something, as you're just looking at whatever kind of car you want to get and you're weighing options and different things, it's just something to take into account. Some of you are going to get it just because you think it looks awesome, and it does look awesome. And if you have people that, you know, it's all stocked through HRP. So there's shops that sell the brand, the Team Corrali brand. And if you've got one that does, and it's got parts for it, you know, it's a pretty cool machine. As are most of these, you know. And then it just comes down to driving style and what you want to accomplish with it. So, what else is there? Comp truck, my Venge video went up already. That thing's amazing. The Venge RC 24 scale comp rig that Brandon bought for me. If you haven't watched that video, definitely do. I'll have more videos of it coming. It's going to get a lot of runtime. I still am trying to dial in the shocks, but he doesn't design shocks. That's just, I gave him shocks that I had and he put them on. And, so I'm still trying to tweak that for handling, how I want it to handle. But I'm also just getting used to, it's a hard body, and I'm just not used to the weight being where it is. And so it's just learning, you know, the more you drive a truck, like the one that I love, my FuryTech, I'm like, you know, this is really outdated tech, but look at how good it still does. Part of how good it still does is I've driven it for 4 years or something like that. I don't know how many. It's been a long time since we moved to Michigan. So 3 to 4 years, and it was other things before that, but been driving it a long time, and so I'm used to how it handles. I kind of have an idea of what it's going to do, and I haven't figured that out for this yet, when the body's going to want to shift or roll, or when it's going to want to unload. I don't know those things about it yet, and so as I learn how it handles, it'll affect how I drive and what lines I choose, which is something I already know about the other truck. So, yeah, really excited about it, because, you know, I gave it to somebody that's never driven a truck, and they took like second place against our really good guys here. Beat me. So, and it was his first time out. He's done RC, he's done like buggy racing and all that, but, you know, I went first so he could kind of get an idea of lines that I was taking and why, and I could explain it, and when we could winch and how to use it and different things. And then he just came out and destroyed us. Got an awesome score. So I know it's a super capable truck, and I'm excited to learn to run it. So definitely check out that video. But yeah, other than that, we're going to keep this thing rolling, you guys. Pablo and I have been talking. We've got lots of stuff coming for the podcast. He's busy now, too. He's back to like instead of working for himself, he's doing a job. He's working for people now. Still kind of in the same field he was before with design. And so, but he's got something that's super steady for him. But that all comes at a time cost. And that's what I've got as well again. And not working kind of for myself in the video world. I'm working, doing music and a whole bunch of other stuff now for a church, but, yeah, just much more time is used up, which means that we have a little less for some of the other stuff we used to do, but we're still doing this and rocking and rolling with RCs just like you guys are and having fun. So we'll catch you in the next episode, guys.